It's John Pollock here alongside Cody Saftik, and the most intriguing number attached to UFC 207. We at least have a preliminary estimate courtesy of Dave Meltzer at MMAfighting.com and the Wrestling Observer newsletter he put out this week. It's an early estimate, so you have to take it with that qualifier. 1.1 million buys for this card from last Friday night, headlined by Ronda Rousey and Amanda Nunes. And once again, it seems that Rousey is able to defy a lot of what we knew previously when it came to pay-per-view. When international pay-per-views would typically not do well, she goes to Brazil and does 900,000 buys. She does no media, and look at this number. There was so much anticipation just for the fact she was coming back off of this loss, and so much intrigue there. And of course, Cody, being a Friday night card as well, this blew away what Brock Lesnar and Alistair Overeem did in 2011.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions going in. I mean, how much has her star factor taken a hit after that loss? I mean, we see in the world of boxing, one loss oftentimes and just there's not that intrigue anymore. She's coming off a loss. She's coming off a layoff. She does no media whatsoever. And yes, it had another title fight, the bantamweight title fight, as a supporting role in on that card. But for the most part, it was largely the Ronda Rousey show. And I think at 1.1 million, if that is what the final number ends up being,
even if it comes in slightly lower, 900,000, 1 million buys, that's an incredible number for a Friday night card.
Would be an incredible number for a Friday night card. To put things into perspective, when you look at that UFC 206 card and that estimate being about 150,000, it really shows you that one star makes the difference. And a lot of people, and as I talked about when I was in Vegas, yes, Cody Garbrandt got a big pop, and yes, Dominic Cruz is a well-known fighter and a champion in the division, but they were largely there to see Ronda Rousey. So now people are saying, well, it's on a Friday, hasn't been really promoted all that well. Ronda's not doing any media. And we've seen Dana throw Conor McGregor in the doghouse, and Nick Diaz in the doghouse for not doing media. And for Ronda, it was like, don't worry. And she still didn't need it. It just goes to show how big of a star she really is. And I think a lot of the times we now think, okay, Ronda's done. Everyone's saying that's the narrative. She's done. She'll retire. And the only thing she's really said is that she hasn't ruled a comeback off the table. She hasn't really been very vocal about it. But in that statement she sent to ESPN, at least she didn't say outright, I'm never going to fight again. And I think now, if you're the UFC, you want to have Ronda back, whether that she just lost 2 fights. That intrigue is going to be there. And you look at 205, it has McGregor, and it does a killer number. 206 doesn't have anything for the most part. Yes, it has a title fight, but it does a terrible number. 207 does a great number. Now you're looking at 208 with Holman and Jermaine Durandamy. It's the same thing. It feels like they're almost load one, take one off. Load one, take one off. Maybe they just need less pay-per-views and to really do a good job of stacking the ones that they do.
Well, especially when your stars, your headliners are in short supply, and yet you still have the same fixed amount of pay-per-views, and you want to be running monthly. Sometimes just having that date ready, you don't necessarily have the fight ready. The fact that Ronda Rousey didn't do any media, that was such a big topic going into the card and coming out of it. And I think this was more of an extenuating circumstance, because there to me was no shortage of Ronda Rousey coverage. There was just no Ronda Rousey quotes attached to the coverage. There was tons of discussion about her blacking out the media, of all the questions, of coming off the loss, that it seemed that her not talking almost became a story in and of itself. But I wouldn't take that as some kind of rule that you can extrapolate so that your Conor McGregors and other stars say, hey, I'm not going to do media either. I think that this was a unique circumstance.
You know what? One of the better things that helped the card was Cody Garbrandt and Dominic Cruz's little exchange that actually happened on Fight Network, where you can just see the emotion, you see the walk-off, and it's just something as simple as walking off, but it could be something as simple as throwing a water bottle. It could be something as simple as throwing a shoe at John Jones after you get tackled off of a stage. That just builds intrigue. So yes, you're right. The going quiet, I mean, it's very few and far between. And I think because Ronda had been built into some type of mythological creature, that when she goes silent, especially now, there's the, oh my God, maybe she's taking this so seriously, she's going to come out like a different version of Ronda that we've never seen before and prove to be false. But if it happens again for whatever reason, if she does decide in a year, 2 years to come back, there will be a home for her, and there will still be that intrigue of, well, now she's been off 2 years, John, what are we going to get? It's always going to be there. And that's why I know it's a dead topic at this point, but that's why bringing someone like CM Punk would really help a card like 208. If they need something on that card, I think they'll add Nick Diaz to 209. That obviously picked up Mark Hunt and Alistair Overeem. That'll be the good card. But as we talked about, if they're skipping events, 208's going to be the one to suffer. And I think even just throwing something like a CM Punk on there would at least help add a couple 100,000 buys, and that actually makes a world of difference.
So looking now at the number, I mean, it's 1.1 million homes that it's estimated, and who knows how many people you attach to each of those homes. Millions probably saw this fight when you take into account pay-per-views, bars, the live attendance, and they got to see Amanda Nunes look incredibly dominant in 48 seconds, and they also got to see Cody Garbrandt look fantastic in his fight. We've seen in Bellator, that was the theory, that if we could get a Ken Shamrock, a Kimbo Slice, a Hoist Gracie, they will bring in the masses, and then the masses are going to see your Michael Chandlers and your Pitbulls. But that hasn't exactly worked out. It's a sound theory, but we haven't been able to see that yet, where guys can then headline their own cards and bring that kind of audience. Do you think that those kinds of performances and the star qualities of those two might be able to take from this big, gigantic audience and be able to be stars on their own in 2017, specifically to Nunes and Garbrandt?
To Nunes and Garbrandt, I think that they'll be able to be the benefactor of they'll be able to take as much pull and as much shine for that as possible. When you look at that Bellator model, and I think it's very much like boxing. In boxing, you're only tuning in to see the headliner. Nobody really cares about what else is on the card because they've been sold on just the headliner. So like I was saying, when I was in Vegas for the fight, people only really shuffled in for the Rousey fight. Those people would have missed it completely. They would have gotten Nunes, absolutely. But it's the same way when I talk to a lot of casual fans. I'm always shocked at the amount of casual fans who know who Frank Mir is. That's like the one fighter they know because he fought Brock, because he got that rub, and they'll never forget that. So in Nunes' case, it's the same as Holly Holm. Holly Holm should have been a star already, but she was not. She beats Ronda Rousey, and now she's a star. Now she can lose a couple fights, and she's still headlining a card for a title. And people who are casual fans will tune into that and say, that's the girl that beat Ronda Rousey, because that's what she's remembered for. So yes, Cody Garbrandt, to a lesser extent, he'll be able to have the audience that tuned in for the two title fights will see that kid and see, wow, here's a good-looking kid, super confident, got that Mike Tyson, feel to him where he just marches in the pocket, very exciting, very fast, and had an incredible performance. Nunes will get a lot of rub too. But when you look at guys on the undercard, a Dunyan Kimmer, a Tarek Saffiedine, a Johnny Henderson, and Neil Magny, I don't think that most people were watching those fights because they're only tuning into the higher portion. Same thing with Michael Chandler on a Bellator card. I would love for people to call me up and say, hey man, that was a crazy fight with Dada, 5,000 and Kimbo, but did you see that kid on the co-main event? Wow, he was something special, but you never get that. You mostly just get, oh, did you see what happened in the headliner?
Final thing here. Ronda Rousey's drawing ability was immediately brought up because of this fashion of a loss, and coming off of two losses and the way in which she did. If she theoretically were to come back, let's say in the summer of 2017, so not even a full year away at this point, do you feel her audience is hurt by that loss to Amanda Nunes? Because I'm not convinced it is. No,
I don't think so. I think if she's to come back, is she going to fight Holly Holm again? No. Is she going to fight Nunes again? No. I don't even want to see her fight Pena or Shevchenko. But there's no denying if she comes back to fight a Kat Zingano again, there is that intrigue. Oh, she beat this girl in 13 seconds, but hey, where's Ronda been lately? Could she do that again? Kat made a real poor decision throwing that flying knee. I want to see it again. And all of a sudden, the intrigue's there again. And Kat Zingano is still a top contender. You beat her, now all of a sudden the media machine's moving again. Oh, Ronda Rousey might be back. She's still a very young athlete. You're seeing a lot of people jump on her and dump on her, and maybe rightfully so. They were sold on something and they feel cheated out of it. But at the end of the day, this woman did nothing wrong. You're seeing a lot of other people, like a Roger Mayweather, like a Jeff Mayweather, come out and say, listen, she can still improve. And being that she's not even 30 years old yet, yes, she can definitely still make a comeback if that's something that she really wants to do and not just people in her inner circle want her to do. But is the intrigue going to leave? No, I don't think it ever will. And that's why you still see Bellator pick up these aging fighters who are in their mid-40s, in their early 50s, and there's still that intrigue. If people want to see you, if you're over, if you're a star, that's always going to be there. It might lessen a little bit, but it'll always be there.
So there you have it, that early pay-per-view estimate coming courtesy of Dave Meltzer of 1.1 million pay-per-view buys for UFC 207, headlined by Ronda Rousey's return taking on Amanda Nunes.